All right, we're at the Texas Track 9-hole Cup. We just finished up the Solar States. I got up Sunday and I was going to play Sunday morning, and I had some stuff that I was going to do, and then I got through the day and fell asleep, and that was it. What was at the top? I'm thinking it had to be 35 or better. I'm thinking, let's see. I was shooting 33s, 34s. I shot a 18 in the qualifying round, so I would have had a good shot at a win, but I totally spaced it off. That's me. That's all right. That's all right. Texas Track 9-hole Cup. Let's practice. Now these holes are, if I looked at it right, are at the Wiseacres. I could have swore that we just played these Wiseacres, but I was at Tommy's site looking at tournaments that we just played, and the last time we played the Wiseacre was in the Pit Stop 9-hole Cup. I could have swore we just played them here a few weeks ago, but I was wrong. I was wrong. Wrong, I tell you. Let's see what we got here. What do we have? Now, if we get into this, so in one-on-one play, if you're playing from the second tee, you can do a straight up shot and come right out into this area, and you've got a nice little second shot. And I'm not sure that if you bring out a big enough ball and you're playing from the pro tees that you can't get over. It might be one of those deals, if you bring out a really big ball with a club that's got a lot of topspin, like a big topper, you might be able to get into this area and run it over. Thinking rookie, if you bring out a big enough ball and you've got the right kind of wind, I think you can start off over on the other side and you don't have to run it. Ideally, if we're coming over here, it's kind of hard. Let's look at the tee here. From the rookie tee, if we draw a line from the tee box to the flagpole, we're trying to do this right here. But if we're starting off on this side, we're going to have to start down here in the deal, and our shot's going to be going like this, trying to lay it up out here, and then we've got a short second shot. If we can get over to the other side, I think the deal is, and I'm pretty sure that we can if we bring out the right kind of ball where we can get over to this side. It's kind of hard to get up into this so that you can curl it around the sand. You're pretty much going to hit it straight, trying to skirt the sand so that you're ending up right off the green. You might be able to get a little bit of curvature towards it, but I think it's hard to get right on. We'll see. We'll go practice it. We'll go practice. We'll check it out. I'm not sure how big a ball you have to bring out to get over to the other side, and whether or not there may be times when we have a headwind where even if we bring out a big ball, we won't be able to get over to the other side. But I think if you bring out a power 3 ball, you can get over there with a tailwind, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I played these holes. They're in, I don't know, it was like tour 8 or tour 9 going up that I played them from the pro tees, and I was playing with a Quasar, so I was just hitting it straight forward and just trying to get into this zone. Yeah, we should be able to, with a 3 power ball, get over to this side and trying to get it around a little bit. Ideally, you want to play this where you don't have to do any overpower so that you can be consistent, because you might make the first bounce all the time, but the second bounce, trying to stay away from that sand like my opponent just did, where you get into the sand, that ruins the whole experience here. So you can barely get over with a 1 power. With a 3, we can get over with some overpower, but you can see where my ball guide's going there. I can't get over here in order to put some curl to try and bring it towards the cup. And with a 5 power ball, I think we can do it without doing any overpower. And if we had a headwind day, we'd still be able to work that out and trying to get. Now you could get greedy and try and bounce over that sand, where you get those bounces over the sand and you try and get a little bit closer. We do have some options there. But I think if you brought out just a 3 power ball, trying to get over to the left as much as you can so that you can try and angle your roll out towards the cup would be ideal. I'm not a fan necessarily on these days of leaving the wind in. If we want to pull the wind out, we want to find a spot and then pull the wind out. If we're depending on the wind with the ball that we have to push us forward to get us to the right spot, on a headwind day, we're going to be totally screwed. So, trying to standardize the shot. Now, my opponent saw that I just do not understand. We're practicing, dumb fuck. Jeez. You saw me out there checking out balls, doing the whole little deal, and then I like waiting and not taking your shot. Is that gonna like kill you? Evidently. I don't think we need all that topspin. 5. Trying to get out into that zone. And that's going to be difficult on a headwind day. 2, 3. I'm going to do 2 rings. That's 2, 6. Isn't it perfect? We'll see. That was just a 10% adjustment. We'll see if that how close I get on the second bounce. And just laying it up into that zone right there. Now, we're still going to have a lot of work to do from there. That's going to be probably mid to max wedge. Probably mid wedge from there. If you're using a rapier from that spot, here's the flagpole. My max red line was probably going to be past that. But when I pull it back, if I run my topspin, where I'm going to end up is mid. Now, I know you play an in-bringer a little bit different. You count where it's at in its red line. So like if your red line was here with an in-bringer, I think you'd probably be at three-quarter club, maybe 70% club, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so you'd set your adjustment up at 70% club because that's where you're at. But with a rapier, if we could pull back to mid and we were starting at mid and we could run our topspin, we could play it at mid there. I just do not understand why nobody wants to practice in this game. Everybody spends a practice token and they get out there on the course. And then if you're lucky enough to see somebody who's practicing, who's trying stuff out to see what the deal is, you're not going to win anything. So like, why rush the whole thing? Like, why can't you learn? I have learned as much from this game by watching my opponents, like you watching this video. You learn from watching other people play. And I just do not understand. Nobody understands the word practice in the Golf Clash community. Everybody spends their practice token and they think, wow, I got to go out there and I got to... If you see somebody practicing, watch them. Learn from it. It could save you a practice token. You could go, hey man, that's what a Power 5 ball does. Power 5 ball puts me so that I don't have to do any overpower. And my red line's right here, but if I had a headwind day, then I could still use it. And what kind of topspin were they using? And watch what they're doing on the shot setup. I just do not understand our community at all. I can't remember how to play this hole at all. At all. I'm sure I'm not going to use this island. It looks to me like there's a rough bump that we can do here. At least one. But we're going to need to make sure, I'm pretty sure with that shot, we're going to need to make sure we have a bag that's got a Goliath in it. A Goliath. Let's make sure we have a bag that has a Goliath. I'm going to take that bag as my primary. Let's take a Goliath in this bag. Let's switch that up for a Guardian. So I have one bag that's got some stuff. I'm pretty sure it's a Goliath. And I'm pretty sure... Hey, let's go look at that hole real quick. I'll give you some bonus content here. I don't even know which holes we have in this. I think that's with a wood. That's at 50%. Let's take it. Let's take it. Play the golden shot. I go first. 50%. 3 and a smidgen, I think. Uh, 1.1 times 6.1 divided by 2. It's 3.35 rings. I'm going to do 3.45. There's 345. Getting it perfect. See if we can get the rough bump. Nope. I pulled it too much. I was in mid club instead of max. So instead of 2, it was probably like 2.5. And that'd have been like 268, and I pulled it a ring too much. There we go. That's why it's important. If you don't watch any of Tommy's stuff, watching the golden shot thing is definitely beneficial. That's a great hole right there for the golden shot too. A great hole. That is definitely a hole-in-oneable hole. Practice. Let's switch up the ball. I'm going to bring a katana because I think if there is a rough bump here, it's definitely going to take 3 side spin. Definitely. I'm going to take the shot just wherever I'm at in my club, divided by the wind. I'm not going to do anything special. If I can find my, I got some notes here somewhere. On my club numbers, there they are. Right underneath my calculator, right where they're supposed to be. Of course, I looked in the wrong place last. Guardian. Can I get over there? 4 side spin ball, maybe. I might have a spot right there. Let's switch that up. Let's see if I can eke on a little bit more topspin to get me up there. Yeah, there is a rough bump that we can do right there. Right there's one. What is that? 3/4 backspin, 3 side spin. There's max. There's min. Eking mid. Can I get there from here? Might be a rough bump on this side as well. There is. So there's 2 rough bumps that we can do, or we can try and go straight at it. I really don't like these kind of rough bumps. They're the type of rough bump that if you hit it, so if you hit it, you're hitting in this area, and we got this kind of rough bump. If we hit great to the right, we miss the rough entirely. Now with that kind of spin that's on there, that's probably not gonna, it might not kill us. But if we hit it great to the left, our second bounce takes the risk of then clipping the rough and getting caught up in it. Once again, we have somebody who's not going to practice. They're not going to. 3 and almost 1. I think I like this rough bump over here better. And our second bounce is in the clear here, so that's good. The key here is just don't hit anything to the right. And I'm almost, it's 2.4 divided by 1.1. I'm going to do 2.1 rings. Probably should turn my grid on. Probably. Oh, then I hit it great to the freaking left. Arrgh. If you're going to hit it great one way or the other, that was definitely the side. Definitely the side. So we do have some options there. We can go straight at it, or we can try either one of those rough bumps. And those rough bumps are, in my opinion, dangerous. I think I kind of like the one. Now, what would be good there on that hole is to have both of those rough bumps in your bag. So to know what you need over on this side for the rough bump and what you need over on this side for the rough bump. This side over here, it seems like it might provide you a little bit more flexibility as far as the wind. So like if the wind was blowing from this direction, you might have to involve that sand here, depending on the ball that you brought out. Whereas over here, you might be able to, I think I was a little bit further down if the wind's blowing this direction. So if the spot was further down in here to try and get up there, and the wind's blowing from this direction where I have to involve the sand, I could start off over here and then I would be able to pull and I wouldn't involve the sand. Whereas if the wind was blowing this way where I have to involve this sand, I could come over here and now I wouldn't have to involve the sand. So maybe having both of those shots in your bag depending on wind. I think a 4-side spin ball would probably help out a little bit more there. And I was, like my minimum was here and my mid was up here and I was kind of in between. So I split the difference with a sniper. It was 1.1 at mid and 1.2. So on my calculator I put 1.15 and I split the difference between the two. But if you brought out a 1 power ball instead of a 2 power ball, it's going to push that back and you're probably going to be more dead center mid. So like a 1 power ball with like 4-side spin, you could probably get up here a little bit better and give yourself a little bit more room. We got some options there. What does Tommy say to do on the adjustment? 15%. I can almost believe that. It's hard to tell what their variable is at zero wind. So we represent these adjustments as a percentage. So what that means to me is that if the wind was 0 miles an hour and I lined it up and I hit perfect, I would miss by 1.5 tenths of or you know, if you break your ring set up in the tenths, 1/10 of a ring, so it'd be 1.5 tenths is what I'd miss it by. So if we had a 5 mile an hour wind, we would have to do a 1.5 per 1 mile an hour wind in our adjustment. So we'll have to figure that out. I'm always skeptical about, like, when people give you percentages, that percentage may work for them, but that percentage may not work for you. Typically, if we get into one of these where we find a spot, you know, it's going to get us into the ballpark, and then we might have to make like little micro adjustments, plus 0.1 or minus 0.1. All right, that was hole number 2. Hole number 2. Hole number 3. Now, I believe if we bring out the right stuff, we can try and get all the way up here into the tip, and that is a beautiful shot. I am not really interested in hitting it straight down here for several reasons. I think I don't want to put this sand back in play. If I can get over into this fairway, I can take this sand out of play where I'm coming through this open neck right here. I'm not sure if we bring out a big enough ball that we can't start off over here and try and run it up, but I think we're going to have to start here and then push it forward. So like a topspin boost ball, bigger ball to get us out into that area. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Now I have 2 things going to give me practice tokens, and we'll see if I can get any. I'm not sure what it would look like from the Masters tees out there, but from the Pro tees, I don't think you can make it all the way over. I think you have to bounce it over and then run it up. So like a topspin boost ball will definitely help you. The deal is when I played, the only time I played these Wiseacre Ranch holes is in tournaments. And when I played them in one-on-one, I wasn't playing them with big equipment. I was playing them with a Quasar. So I have no idea like what it would look like if you brought out bigger balls. Because in one-on-one, I'm not going to waste any big balls. There are times when it costs me. Yeah. Even with a big ball here, we're not going to be able to get all the way over. So from the Pro tees, yeah, I think you could make it. You might have to start over here and then run it this way to try and get over, but you can see where my second bounce is. The second bounce is what's critical here, because we want to leave enough room so that we can, if we put any curl on it, like we want to get up there and we put a little bit of curl on it, that second bounce is gonna clip the rough. 2-6. Dose. I'm not going to put the wind back in. I want to see what it does. Oh, I'm gonna clip the rough. What I told you would happen if you put any curl on it, and then I hit to the left. It's gonna. I can't believe it missed and just bounce over there. But with a topspin boost ball and a bigger power ball, you can get way up into that hollow. Way up into that hollow. We'll act like we're from West Virginia. Getting up in the hollow. I always thought hillbillies came from Arkansas, but I was wrong. They came from West Virginia. I was working in West Virginia. I met this lady, and she had a guy that was going to help her do the repairs that was there, and he was speaking. I have no idea what language he was speaking. She said it was English, but I couldn't understand. And I've worked a lot in the South and other parts of the country where I can totally understand everybody. That local dialect doesn't affect me at all, but I couldn't understand what that guy was saying at all. There's Max Grizzly. There's Min Grizzly. There is a rough bump there. Barely with the Grizzly. Barely. And if we pull back to give myself a little bit of room, that is barely. And minimum club. Let's see if it rolls out. Minimum Grizzly is 1.4 per ring, so 2.2 divided by 1.4 is 1.6 rings straight up with no extra. Let's see, and we want to really be cognizant of where it lands. 1.6. Oh, I'm gonna hit everything great today. And I barely hit the rough, but I did hit it great, and it does not. The ball guide is not lying to you. That is how far my ball guide was. So definitely bringing out a Goliath there would help you. Goliath would help you too because with that small of a wind, you're barely moving it. So you take less of a risk of having to pull over the sand. You'd still, if the wind was blowing from the right, any of these directions, you'd still have to adjust over the sand. But with the Goliath, you could start back a little bit further. You might be able to open up the window so you don't have to adjust over the sand. Goliath. That might be the ticket on that. Would have liked to have hit that perfect though. This is why I'm saying that those adjustments that they have on there are all bullshit, because from where I was at, the green is uphill from where I was, so we shouldn't have to be adding wind on an uphill shot, or we shouldn't have to be adding on to our wind, I should say. Our adjustment should be a negative adjustment, not a positive one. But whoever plugged in those variables into Golf Clash was not consistent, because every downhill shot we have to add stuff on. They were not consistent at all. At all. Because there's some of these holes that are way downhill, and we might do a 30, and then there's ones that are just barely downhill, and we're doing a 20. It's some variable that somebody with a gold star above their name plugged in. That's it. That's it. Wiseacre Ranch, hole number 4. 4. All right. So I'm going to try and remember, if you bring out a ball that has more than 3 side spin, you can start off in this area right here with a Kingmaker and try and curl yourself around to get through the gap. However, with just a 3 side spin ball, it seemed to me like I could only put on a couple top spin, because I would end up running out of fairway, and I would end up right here in this rough. It was hard to get fully around the bend to get where I'm rolling out, and I've made my bend and I'm rolling out through this fairway so that I can get up into this area and have a nice little chip. I don't think I was able to do that with a 3 side spin ball. I think you need to bring out a 4 side spin ball in order to get this trajectory if you're in this spot right here. And I was, if I remember correctly, I was in here where I was 2 to 3 rings of like kind of centered up. And my ball guide's going out in this direction, and I'm trying to pull the But if you're using a 3-side spin ball, you're going to have to watch your topspin because you'll run out of fairway here and it'll just dribble off and come in the deal. You can hit it straight forward and then try and come at it. And I think depending on what club you have out here, you might be able to do a rough bump, or you're just going straight at it. You got a nice shot from out here. It's not that it's a bad shot, but if you can get right here, that's the ticket. The ticket. I think I had to bring out at least a kingmaker in order to get to the spot, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. And it feels like you can run all your topspin out there, but you will regret it. It's not that you have a bad shot if you're in the rough right there, but hey, if we can be 5 inches away and be in the fairway, we have a much better shot from the fairway. And I'm pretty sure I was doing +10 on the drive. I think the whole deal on the second shot is if you can get in the right spot, in Ricky, you're not really having to worry about the wind. There was no percentage. If you're hitting it straight forward down into this zone and then you're trying to hit it over with your short iron, possibly long iron, you're definitely going to need to know what kind of an adjustment you need to do. But if you're trying to go for the green and you actually get your shot, it's not going to be bad. It's not going to be bad. If I can get a freaking opponent. Am I not going to be able to get an opponent? Probably not. I see Playdemic has teamed up with Ford to put the signs out on the course that block our shots. I pitched an idea to Playdemic the other day, and I haven't gotten my gold star award or anything, but I pitched a thing about, I posted a video on it on that they're underutilizing the signs, that, you know, like they should be pitching to basketball and football and soccer and bowling. Many of you commented that I forgot hockey, Canadian sport, the Canadian football, baseball, tennis, volleyball. And we're losing all these opportunities. And that is crap. Now, if I was them, we're in practice, I would hit it back to where I really wanted to be instead of taking that shot. You know you can make it from there, so that's all we need to know. There's Max with a 3 power ball, so I think we might be able to do this with a katana. Yeah, I got room to work out wind. And I must have been 2 rings off. Max, just 2 topspin. 2.5 divided by 1.3. It's 2.11 rings. 2.11 rings. There's 2.11 exactly. And I hit it great again. I'm going to hit every shot great today. That's the deal. And that's going to be too much. Too much. Just... If I'd hit that perfect, I would have had a little bit. I could have probably put 3 topspin on there. And you could do a rough bump from there. You might actually be able to do a rough bump with Nirvana. Maybe. Now, come on, dude. You know you can make that shot. You know you're in the right spot, but what you really want to know is what the shot's like from the fairway. It's probably a replay, so that's just the deal. Just the deal. Let's see where I'm at. It's got to be in my wedge. Got to be max. Yeah, I'm right at max club. I play max at 1.2 per ring. Do I have enough topspin to get me there? Nope. There's Max. .3 divided by 1.2. 2.75 rings. There's 2, 5, 7, 5. Let's see if I can hit this one perfect. Wow, I can. Just! And that would be like plus 0.1. That would have been right there. Just 0 plus 0.1. If you're in that spot for the second shot. Because I was definitely at max club. Definitely. Kmart sucks. And I got a practice token. Look at that. The 6-shooter actually paid off. Only Playdemic could screw up the accuracy and the dependability of a 6-shooter. All right, what do we got here? Hole number 5 is a par 3. Par 3. Hole number 5. All right, hole number 5. Hole number 5. This is another one. I'm 100% sure there's a rough bump in here. It seemed like one of these rough bumps that was in, like one of these that was in here, it was in this area, and like you'd make your adjustment and then you needed to push back. But I think on this one, there was a spot right in here, and it seemed like it was like plus 10 was the spot. Like there was a killer spot. They say plus 20, but I'm gonna start off with a plus 10. We'll see. And I don't know that we needed anything special. Balls. I'm just going to we'll try a 1 power and see what it is. 1 power. I don't know that we needed anything special to start off with. We'll go check it out. We'll go peruse. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. And we got somebody. Finally. Only spun for a little while. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the spot. And I really would like to get, let's see if my opponent, like in this area right here, it opens it up so that really we've only got a quarter of our possible adjustments where we'd have to move over the sand, and we might be able to work that spot a little. I'm gonna start off with a 10, and we'll see what that does, because it seems like I've made a lot of hole-in-ones on this hole, and it seemed like it was with a 10, but maybe. Okay, there's Min. There's Max. So I'm at mid-club. So basically I'm just going to pull the wind, whatever the wind is. Where I'd really like to be is kind of in that front spot. And if I remember correctly, you wanted to make sure you're through the hole 3-5. There's 3-5 exactly. Hitting it perfect. Now watch this bounce. Not bad. I almost feel like from where it bounced, it felt like I overpulled it with the 10. Take that again with 0 or maybe 5%, just a little. Let's hit it back. Come on. I really think we do have a serious opportunity for a hole-in-one here, because in one-on-one play, I was getting hole-in-ones on this particular hole. I think we do have a really good shot. Really good, real good shot. Let's play that hole one more time. Let's play it one more time, because I'm going to just do it at 0 this time so that we can see where it comes out at 0. But I feel like this is a great opportunity for a hole-in-one. Like if we're looking at holes through it that we can really try and focus to try and pick up shots, this is one of those holes that I think we have a really good shot. The one par 4 where I was trying to go all the way around the bend and I brought out the katana and was trying to curl it around. That's a great hole right there if you bring out a power 3 ball and you've got a big topper, because the big topper's got, right off the bat, tons of curl. 4.1. Once again, we're still in mid. I'm going to try and get up there as much, from that angle. Trying to get up there as much as I can so I don't have to involve my the sand that much in my move. 4.1. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Hitting it perfect. I like that spot better and I still am off. That spot was more the first time I was centered up in that rough area, and I hit a little closer to the sand, and I had over pulled it, so I didn't pull as much, and now I hit kind of where my original bounce was supposed to hit. But and I was trying to pull along this sand line so that I wasn't focused over here where my rings were getting distorted. I was trying to focus. I was trying not to use the sand as my marker. We do have a great opportunity. This is definitely a hole. You can see how close my opponent hit. Barely hit the rough. Barely. 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 In the hole. Birdie. All right, we'll go to the next hole. That hole right there is definitely one worth putting some effort into if you want to burn some practice tokens to really get how you want to play that hole. Because that hole, I think we have a great opportunity at hole 1. I think there's another one. I think the last par 3 we have a really good opportunity on it as well. Hole number 6. Hole number 6. Let me see if I can remember how to play this hole. I don't know if I remember how to play this hole. I do remember how to play this hole. So depending on what ball you bring out, you can start off right in this area right here, and you can bring it out so that you've got a straight up shot to the cup. I thought originally when this hole came out that we might be able to do a rough bump from down here, but I don't think I don't think you can do it. Even if you get up here and you're in the right spot where you can get into this area with a Goliath, I don't think there is a rough bump here. And I think that most people are going to play it in one of two ways. They're either just going to lay it up down here at the end and then go for it. You're going to need a wood. I'm not going to say that you need if you're going to hit down to here, it seems to me that you would need a wood that hits farther so that you can not be pushed up against your red line like you would with a sniper. Like a sniper, you might have a shot from here, but it might be short, especially on a headwind day. Whereas if you brought out a big dog or a cataclysm, even your Guardian, it's got that much more distance over the 172 that you get with a sniper. That you might have issues if you come down to here just trying to go straight at it. Whereas if you hit over here, even though on arc we may not be any shorter or closer to the cup over here, although I think you can get a little closer to the cup over here. What we have on this side is we have the ability to run it up where our red line would be here as opposed to here, so we're going to gain a little bit of distance. If you bring out a big enough ball and we've got wind that's either side wind or tailwind, you might be able to do it on a headwind day if you've got the right stuff. If you've got a top spin boost ball, you can hit from here and then you're hitting from back here actually, and trying to get your second bounce in the rough and then just run it forward and end up right in this area. And from there, you've got a pretty decent shot. But you're gonna need a power 4 ball with top spin boost or a power 5 ball, just a regular berserker. But you will definitely have to bring it. If you're trying to get down into this area where you're bouncing it over, you're gonna need to bring out something big. Something big. Something. I'll show you. I will show you. Yes. We're practicing. Practice now. Hole number 6. Practice. The only time I've ever gotten an opponent that really wanted to practice was when I'm out here with Dunner, and everybody else seems to just be wanting to treat it like one-on-one. So they can win their imaginary, invisible, non-existent chest. If you see somebody practicing out there, please tank a putt. Go out there and check out your own stuff to see what your balls will do. You saw them do it. I'm not sure that you're going to run into a lot of people that do that, but if you find somebody that it looks like they're practicing, practice. Don't buy into whatever Playdemic's trying to sell us that, like, oh, you can't do that. You got to go out there and you got to hit the ball and you got to do straightforward. Like my opponent's checking out balls right there. They could. Are they really planning on playing this tournament with a Nirvana or a Navigator? And so why the hell are you even practicing? Yes. You can hit a Nirvana over there. All right. Yes, and you'll have a second shot. Why? Why, oh why? Let's see, I don't think with a 3 power ball you can do the straightforward shot. You don't have enough oomph. You'll have to go over. And if you wanted to cut the distance, you're getting down into this area. You really want to bounce off that first cut of the rough, not the second. But if you bring out a big enough ball, well, maybe even with, no, because that second bounce is going to hit that second cut of the rough, and it'll kill it. Kill it. You can bring out a power 5 ball, and you can get into that area. And you're going from wood to long iron if you go into that area. I will let the time run out so that I can think about what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to just hit it with a 3 power ball, and just so that we can see what that area looks like up there. Now this is what I'm talking about with my opponent. They're in a perfect spot. They got a 1 power ball. And where their red line's out, they've got enough room between them and the rough right there so they can line right up at the cup. Let's see if they do 2-9. Yeah, pretty close. They probably did 3, but who's counting? Perfect. Maybe the win +2, +0.2. with the sniper. Now here, I'm going to show you, we've seen what their shot was from over there. Let's switch to my number 4 bag. So I got a big hitting wood. A big hitting wood. A big hitter. I tell you. 2, 3. I'm going to do 2 rings. That's plus 10. It's 2, 6. Put a little bit of curl on it. Hitting it perfect. And we'll stick it up here at the top and I'll show you. We'll see what this looks like from up here if we were just doing this shot from right here. Now, I did leave a little teeny bit on the table, but with all those moguls, if you come through them, you could catch a slide there and slide off. So I didn't really want to push my luck and try and get right up next to the transitional line with the rough. And we'll see what this looks like. And you can see where my red line's at. If you went that way with a sniper, even if you picked up the extra distance down here where you're out with a sniper, you're still going to be in a spot of bother. And I don't think there's enough tops. Do I have enough top spin? I might. If I got it just right, if I was able to get up into this area right here. But those moguls are screwing me up as far as like trying to run it out to do a rough bump. There's 2, 8. There's about 3. I'll try and do a rough bump since we're screwing around anyways. We'll see if it runs out. Hitting it perfect. There might be a rough bump there, but that is not with those moguls there. It's one of those deals that when you're making your wind adjustment, if you over pull it just a little teeny bit, when you're in those mogul areas down at the end of your run and you're trying to do a rough bump, if you over pull it back here where your wind adjustment's at, where your ring set's at, and you over pull it just a little, it's going to hit these and it's going to die. And if you under pull it, it's going to hit these and it's going to speed forward. And so everything has to be absolutely perfect. And I'm not sure that that would be a consistent area to do a rough bump, but I was kind of surprised that there was one there. But to get to that area, you'd have to pick up all of the distance on the drive and get as far as you can up here to, because I was like right in this area. So I did leave a little bit on the table, but even with the big hitting wood, my red line would have been in the perfect spot. But if you wanted to bring out a sniper, I think you still would have been short up here. And you would have had to either start off over on the side and then curl it back around in order to bring it to the cup, or you would have had to overpower it. And I'm not a big fan of doing rough bumps with overpower because it's easy to end up in the crap. I suppose you could start over here and then try and curl it back around, but that's... I think this side over here is the more consistent area. Either doing what my opponent did where you're out in this and then you just got a straight up shot, or bringing out a big enough ball so that you can hit through here and try and end up here. This is long, this is wood, and this is going to be long iron. So if you want to hit with your long iron, you're going to need to get up into this zone. It's easy in this area too to get off trajectory and end up in that sand. But you can recover from there with a Nirvana. So we do have some options here. I don't know that I'm never gonna hit it from that spot. It's always either gonna be from over here or trying to get straight forward into this area. Just me personally. Hole number 7. Hole number 7. All right. In one-on-one play, I hit right to here. Just bounce it over. It's pretty straightforward. You don't have to do much to get over into this area, and you got a straight up shot to the cup. And you can do it with a low power ball. You don't have to bring out anything special. You can just do it. So if you're playing from the Pro Tees, that is an easy way to do it without having to bring out any extra equipment. If the wind's blowing right, and pretty much anything on our side of the line. So if we got a pure side wind or if we've got any kind of tailwind, you can go for this area here with a big enough ball and try and do a rough bump, first bounce, rough bump, first bounce, and then bam, you're out. And you're trying to bleed into this zone. If you bring out the right kind of stuff, you might be able to try and bleed yourself down this lane where you're in here and you're trying to really kind of curl it around and try and get as far down into this as you can so that you can open up the shot. Now what happens, the pin is so close to this rough right here that your second shot, you can end up in a situation where you got to use a lot of backspin. So the farther you can get down here to the right, the more you open up. Now if we draw a line here from here to the cup, and we draw this line, if you're on this side of the line, now you got a straight up shot. You can start off on the outside of this and then you can side spin it back around and try and go at it. So if you're out in here, you have to contend with that. And in this picture it looks like it's a mile away, but I think when you're out there on the course it's pretty close. So those are your traditional shots. Now what you can do, you say here, is you can bring out a big power ball and you can try and get over to the other side and get right into this area where you're bouncing through here. I've ended up in the rough here where I'm almost trying to do a second bounce rough bump where I'm getting one bounce, second bounce hits the thing, and then it just bleeds out and ends up right in this area. But I've ended up over here because I missed the rough. And bounce number 1 was in the fairway, bounce number 2 was in the fairway, and I got all that topspin in order to get me over there to start off with, and I'm off to the races. But you can try and go for the green side, and I think in tournament play, I always try and go for the green side. Now with headwind, it's a little bit more difficult. It is a little bit more difficult, but we'll see. I really hate to burn a berserker doing some shot like that, because it's one of those deals. Every single time you set this shot up, if you're using the berserker and you're trying to go for the other side, every single time it's going to be slightly different because you're going to have to contend with the wind on your bounces over on the other side. It seems like I was doing a pretty good size adjustment, like maybe a 20% or something on the drive. It's like a 50-50 going to the other side. About 50% of the time I'm in the right area, and about 50% of the time I'm either in that sand trap or I've overshot it and I've blown it and I'm up in the rough somewhere. But if you do get over to the other side, you got a beautiful shot from there. A beautiful shot. And they got a Kingmaker X. The Kingmaker X. We'll see what they can get done with that. That didn't seem like a very big pool to me. Let's see how close. I think they're going to... It seems like they needed to do a bigger adjustment. Let's watch where it hits. That'll be the angle that they were looking for, but that angle, is, like I said, is over the sand. It's over the sand. And that wind is definitely on our side. You can see where my second bounce is. My second bounce is a little short of it. But when the wind pushes me out there, that's 4.4 divided by 1.3. It's going to push me out there like 4 rings. And I think I'm going to be, that'll be too much topspin. I'm going to put 1 less than max topspin. The wind is kind of going with me, so I'm just going to hit it and we'll see what the deal is there. Oh. 7,000. I mean, that was 7,000 rings. Great. You can hit it over into that side. So you can get over there, but bringing out a power 5 ball is definitely better. And I think on a day like today, I still would have had to do overpower. But you would be able to do overpower and then see where your ball guide was going to go, and then you could adjust it out instead of trying to guess like I was. You can see my opponent's angle, how close they are to that sand, and how much backspin they have to use in order to get to the cup. Bouncing right over the cup. Bouncing right over it. That is a deep ass sand trap too. Deep. Deep, I tell you. Let's see if I can make it. Okay, there's max. There's mid. And I'm in about the 8 per ring range. See how far back I can pull. It's 3.6 divided by 8. 0.45. I'm going to do half a ring. If we hit this perfect, it's going in the hole. It's going in. And I hit it great to the right. 1 ring. You still got a shot from out there, and you still got a good shot. You're just having to take it with your rough iron. It's risky when you try and go to the other side, but if you can get to the other side, especially if you're a person that hits perfect on a regular basis or all the time, man, you got a seriously nice shot from over there. And I was in, so rough iron hits, hell, that might have been wedge. Let's think about that. So on that hole, if you're out in this area right here, it's got to be wedge, because my rough iron hits what, 135, and mid club is 60 something, and I was in quarter club. I was actually in between quarter and I was about third, so that's probably like a max wedge shot. And so getting out here is definitely good. But if you're going to go for, my opponent was out in here where they're taking the straight up shot, trying to bring out a little bit bigger equipment so you can start up a little bit more to the right, and trying to bleed out and curl it to get it around that bend is important. But on a headwind day, you're going to have issues with it. The smart move, if you come out here, if you're playing pro, is just to hit right here and then take the straight up shot, because you got a straight up shot and the sand's not in your way. We got options. We do. We do have options. Several. In rookie, though, I'm always going to go for the other side. I'm always going to go for it. I'm always going to do that. Hole number 8. Hole number 8. All right. This is the other one. We do have a rough bump on this one as well. I'm not so sure. We might be able to do it with a grizzly, but I'm not so sure. I'm going to bring out a quasar just in case. We'll start off with a quasar and look at it. Obviously on these holes, this hole and the other par 3 where I did the rough bumps, you can go straight at it, but these rough bumps on these holes, if the wind's blowing right, that you can do it where you're not really having to involve the sand, it's definitely worth taking a look at the rough bumps, because the rough bumps are really good shots on these. This is another great par 3 where we have a serious opportunity for a hole in one. It seems like we were doing like a plus 10 on this one as well. What's Tommy say? Plus 20 on this one as well. I don't remember doing a plus 20 on these, but maybe. Cataclysm. I'm going to use a sniper. There's max. There's min. So I'm at mid club. So I'm just going to do the win, 3.2. And it might be a plus 20. So that we're actually doing, because at mid club we wouldn't be doing anything. So 3.2 times be 20 times, hey, get over there, 3.2 divided by 1.1, so it'd be 3.5 rings. $3.5. Do I have time? I do. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. Now, if I did a 10% there, so that's 1.1 times the wind divided by wherever you're at in your club, and I'm in mid club, it's 1.1, so it would just be the wind. And I knew that we needed to do an adjustment here, so I went ahead and did the 20. So it's 1.2 times the wind divided by 1.1, so that I would end up with an adjustment. Now, let's see here. That was 3.49 rings. Let's see what it would end up in. 3.49. It would have been, I did 3.5, and I would have, if I would have just did the 10% times the wind and 1 to 1, it would have been 3.5. So, but fractionally it's different. So 1.2 times the wind divided by 1.1. There you go. There you go. There you go. Doing 20 at mid club. Hole number 9. Hole number 9. What is hole number 9? Those two par 3s we seriously want to get. We want to go around, and we want to pick up one of those, at least one of them on each side. Now we have several options that we can do here. We can try and bounce from this area, getting our run to get as far up into this as possible. Obviously with those trees there being on this side of that line, so that you've got a straight up shot to the cup. My buddy Dunner, it likes to hit up here to the front, and there is a rough bump that you can do off of this pad. Now, I'm not sure which pin placement we have here, but with the new pin placement, the rough bump blows. Or maybe the only way you can actually get at it is through the rough bump. But there is a rough bump that you can do here in the trees if you're out in this area, so you can get your bounces right and do the rough bump and try and go at it. If you're not trying to do the rough bump, this angle over here is difficult to try and really kind of go for it. So if you want to do the rough bump out here, which is not my favorite, I'm not a super big fan of it. I prefer this shot from over here myself. And those are really your ways to go at it. But I think with the new pin placement, the new pin is hidden back here, further back on the green, and that from over here it's hard to get far enough forward that you can get a view at it, that you're kind of stuck doing this so that you can do the rough bump and you still have a shot at it. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I think you can get over with just about any ball. Now on a headwind day, it might be a little bit more difficult. And it's one of those ones, if you're going to the left, where you're going to have to practice it a few times with your clubs, because it's kind of a blind curl shot where you're setting it up and then you're going to do maximum left-hand curl, maximum left-hand side spin, and take the shot and try and get the run so that you're bouncing over from this area and you're getting the run that's going straight up the fairway. So how much room you leave yourself down here so that your curl can become effective. If you pinch yourself up too much, you might be able to just do a straight up shot. But I think I was trying to do a max curl shot, so I was giving myself plenty of room so that I could get the whip around. If you're doing a straight up shot like my opponent, you're having to pull back in order to get the spot where you can go straight forward. Whereas if you do the curl, you can get deeper down in there. Pretty sure I was using a power 3 ball too. Pretty sure, pretty sure. And if you have power 3 balls with topspin boost, and this is the second bounce, right there is what's critical. And they'll have a straight up shot at it. And this is the original pin placement. I might be able to get this done with a katana. Nah, I'm gonna bring out a Kingmaker. Let's bring out a Kingmaker. Let's see what our options are. If I go up into this, I'm gonna do half curl. So if I do max curl, that'll be over curling it. So I'm gonna go out where right there. Hitting it perfect. Topspin boost would have been really helpful. Bringing out a 4 power ball so that you can get closer to that. When you're taking that shot, I'll go back when we get done with this hole and let's look at it. The farther forward you move your shot, so if you bring out a big ball and you go farther forward and you're trying to go to the left, the more curl you'll have to use in order to get yourself in the fairway. And so you don't want to pull back. You could pull back a little bit from the red line to give yourself a little bit of room on headwind days, but I'm almost positive we were doing like a 10% on this. Adding on 0.1 per 1 mile an hour wind. There's mid, there's max club, there's min, there's mid. .9 per ring. .9 divided by 0.9. 4.75 rings. 4.75. There's 475. Perfect. Just a little bit outside. Plus 0.1 would have been good. I made the pull up 0.9 per ring. I was at max club. And I added on 10%. But 0.1 more would have been better. So 10% plus 0.1. That's not a true, that's all simulation right there. That's not a true racing thing because there wasn't any signs out in the middle of the track. So you know Playdemic didn't have anything to do with that. That must have been some flash from some other EA sport. Because if it was a true racing game, we would put signs out in the middle of the track so that people had to dodge them. You come out of the corner, you're in the perfect spot, you're on the accelerator, and then there's a sign in front of you. That's the Playdemic way. Posers. So we're in this spot right here, and so my red line with a 3 power ball is like up in here, so I was like pinching up in this area. So my ball guide, my ball guide's going like this, and I'm trying to go from this area to make this angle in order to get the run. So I did my green, my ball was fully on the outside of the green tick on my ball guide down here on my curl line. But if we really wanted to do a max curl shot, we'd want to get way down into this. So like you look at red line as far as distance wise, with a 5 power ball we could get way in here. And so our angle is going to be like this. So now we're going to have to cut this angle, which is a much bigger angle. This is the thing about if you're hitting farther forward, so you're getting more raw distance here, which is going to net you more raw distance on the other side. But in order to capitalize on that, you're going to want to get that run going right down the middle of the fairway so that you can try and dig up there as far as you possibly can. So if you come into this area right here, how many rings of separation do you leave? That's something you got to practice, because your club may only have that much curl, or you may have a club like the Apocalypse that's got 92 plus, and so you can do more curl out here so that you can bring yourself around that corner, and you can over curl this and end up in the crap over here on this side right here, which is easy to fix. If you find yourself in a hole like this and you over curl it, look at how you set it up. I was 2 rings off and I over curled it. From where I was at, I did max curl. So what you want to do is move that out and give yourself 3 rings of separation. Take that shot again. I still over curled it. Give yourself 4 rings of separation. I think the further you dig down in here, the more you make this angle sharper, that if you brought out a 5 power ball, you could really get down into that zone. Especially if you brought one out that had topspin boost, so that when you apply that curl, I like to set these shots up personally so that as much as possible, so that you're doing max curl. It's easier to do max curl. You come on a shot, you do max curl. You come on the shot and you go, okay, hey, do the green tick line. The ball's completely outside the green tick line. Well, what is that? I understand that because I've got the tick line. But what does that mean on your screen? It's easier to do 0 curl or max curl. Everything in between is a huge ass variable. What I should have did, because my opponent hit out here, is I should have hit it down here so that I could have showed you that rough bump. I'm not a fan of this rough bump, but I have taken it on numerous occasions. In one-on-one play, it's sometimes hard to get over here. And what's really hard is your second bounce. Your first bounce you can usually get fine, but your second bounce, if you hit it wrong, especially if you hit to the right, the way that this line's running is you've got a little bit better pocket over here, but if you hit it to the right, you take the risk of clipping the rough on your second bounce and then it just bleeding out. We got a good shot at the cup. I know that on this hole right here, the very first time I ever played it, I got an Albie, and it is definitely makeable if you can get down into this zone and you got a straight up shot. That's one of the reasons why I like this. This rough bump can be extremely difficult, and if you don't hit perfect, you could be in the world of crap. The world of crap. All right, there you have it. That's a scouting report walkthrough for the Texas Track 9-Hole Cup at Wiseacre Ranch. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there, partner. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and I will see you out on the course.